Let's mass make some fun, quick corner tucks. Hello and welcome to the treasured page. I'm Melanie and this is our quiet crafting space. Today I've got some strips of offcut papers that I've been using for the journals, and these are just some scrap bits. Let's just pull some bits out that look remotely interesting. Don't want to overload myself with too much. Let's keep it simple. Okay, here I've got some packaging. This is just the standard stuff that comes through the door, and maybe it's scrunched up and it wraps up your deliveries. It is just a recycled paper, and that is, I want to give these a backing so that we don't have to look at that. Just going to use stick glue. And then I'm just going to stick them down. I'll put that up the top so I haven't got to cut that edge, and I'll do the same for this one. Cut those out, and then we can start laying down our scraps. So this is just using up the scrap junk paper. And for this, all you're going to need is a stick, glue, some scissors and some scraps. I'm just cutting these out so that we've got the backing covered, and we now can't see that that was anything particularly of interest. It was just the marketing side has been covered. These are no longer flyers, but they are quite thin, so they're not stiff cardstock to begin with. And it just gives it a little bit more strength, but not much. So you're not going to be adding bulk to a journal with this project. You're keeping it quite thin and just straightening off the edges there, and then going round, and anything peeling up on a corner will just get that stuck back down. Now you have then got the basis of some cards. So I'm going to be making 4 corner tucks here, and what we're going to do is starting off with either a rectangle or a square. I wanted to show you the difference. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to decorate one in some strips of scraps, that's that one, and then this one I'm going to decorate with this tissue paper. This is a jelly print that I've done. So I'm now going to put my glue down there, and I'm going to stick down the jelly print, discarded jelly print. It's just scrap. So it's just an impression that I did playing around with my jelly print, which is acrylic paint rolled onto a squishy gel-like plate. So these are collage papers. If you are into printing with the jelly print, this is a way of using up your scrap pieces that you really don't have a use for. This is just another use to use up collage papers. So this is just tissue paper with acrylic paint rolled on with a brayer, a roller, and then it's had a stencil pushed into it and then another colour put on top, and it's been pulled around. So if you're not familiar with jelly printing, you can have a look at that, look that up, and I will be showing you how I've tackled that in the past, and I shall be doing a video on that shortly, and we'll have a play around with the jelly print just so that you can see how they work, and whether that's something you'd be interested in doing, and whether we could make up our own way of doing that. I'm not sure, but it's just another expense. If you haven't got one and you're not interested, then just look for napkin. That would be fine. So you could back that with napkin. This one I just want to use up offcuts. There's another bit there. That was a different one. That's quite nice because it's got some splatters of gold on it. So we might put that down. So we might put that one down. So you've seen me doing this before, where we just start off the collage. We're just going to lay down our scraps in strips and then cut that off at the end. So how I'm doing this is just laying them down, finding the most interesting bit and pushing that in there. And if there's a torn edge anywhere there, that's quite favourable. It's quite nice to vary the colour. So if we've got different colour tones going on, that's nicer to alternate that. So I think I'll have the pink one next to the brown one. I just overlap it slightly because I quite like that edge, and then all I want is one more, and that's nice because it's got that, but this one's probably nicer because it has got a textured little fibres in there, so I'm going to use that. Okay, then with your scissors, turn it over. You can see exactly where you've got to cut for them to all neatly come away. Okay, now we've got to this point, I've got the scrap tray here which is ever overflowing, and I'm just going to have a look, and straight away I'm seeing this napkin, so I'm not going to think about it too much. I'm just going to put down the scrap napkin, and I want to get that sort of frayed texture on there, so we'll maybe just pull a bit off here. And then that can just lie across there. So just put some, see if I can get some glue on the napkin without ripping it too much. Just about manage that, and only because this is such a creamy consistency, that Yoo-hoo glue, I am enjoying it, it's very good. The other one is a Scotch Create, that's a very creamy texture, so those two glues are great when you're working with tissue paper. I'll just push that down with the bone folder. That's fine. So far it's looking like that. We'll leave that one just to set. Anything overhanging we can clear up in a minute. And then I might want to do this a similar thing here. So just gluing down little bits of napkin. This is the top layer of a 3-ply napkin, so very, very fine. And we'll just stick that down over here. So this can work for any season, any time of the year. Just vary the colour tones that you use. So if you're doing spring, then a night more bright greens and yellows and blues, things like that for spring. And then bring white daisies, that sort of, you know, anything that sort of feels like spring. If you want to do autumn, then you dull the tones down, so I'm doing autumn and fall at the moment, so we're looking at that. And then just sort of building in some texture. I'm just going to rip this edge here. I quite like that orange tone maybe to come in there. It would be an idea just to put a bit of ink around this one here. I haven't done any inking for a while. It feels like I've been doing other things. I did a book binding, little book binding of a sketchbook. If you've missed that, that was the last video. That's on the French Linen Botanical Journal, the last one I did, a little sketchbook. That's been fun, so I did that. So yeah, I didn't ink around that one, which is good. So I haven't felt like I've inked for a while. Probably only a day, but that feels like quite a long time in my world. I'm turning that over, and we're just going to cut those bits down. And already, and it can go either way, but already that looks quite interesting. It looks like a bit of vintage wallpaper or something, and we've got the focal point there. We've got an interest of the flowers coming in, so that's all good. Random patterning here now. I quite like that. So just sort of anything that's jumping out at you, can throw that down, have a bit of fun with it. That one goes down there. If you've got some fabric, that could be fun. So this has just jumped out at me, and I like these colours. They just remind me of autumn, of fall, you know, forest. What am I thinking? Like lumberjacks and all that sort of thing. But I've used it the other way round, so that fabric is not intended to be that way, but I find that that is more interesting there. That threads, red threads coming through, matches over here. But we are actually going to be cutting them in half, so you're not going to be able to see that. So we just build up a very loose random pattern over the whole thing. Then we'll be cutting them in half, and that just makes everything quick. So I think what I'll do is I'm just going to stick this down to over here. Like that. Book page coming in. Okay, I'm going to put down a few little words here which have come off of some book page. So stick that down. There's a quiet track, he said with a nod. That's interesting. A quiet track. I think that reminds me of something. Huntsman. Yes, that's what we want. Forest. So we're going to stick that down because it's talking about a forest, or it's not, it's talking about huntsman. There's a quiet track, he said with a nod. And that just, you know, it's interesting. Where does the track lead? The huntsman. Oh, okay. And we're talking about the woods again. So that's great. So that's going there. And that's really all I'm doing with that one, I think, for now. This one, I'm just going to cut round so that I can check that I'm happy with it. Okay, so this is where we're at so far. I'm just turning them over now because we're going to take a ruler and we're going to diagonally go point to point and draw a line. Hopefully you can see that. Draw yourself a line. Now you could do this on a cutter, you could do this with your cutting knife, anything at all, but just for ease, if we haven't got the equipment, the simplest way is to draw a line corner to corner, or you know, you could just cut it, just eyeball it and go for it. Doesn't need measuring really, it doesn't matter. So there's one and there's the other. Same here. Cutting corner to corner for your corner tucks. We've got one here. This is going to go this way up on top of the page. It's something a bit different, and that one will be below. There we go. So in my ideas journal, this is how I have got this upper idea, which would look like that in a journal. So it would look like that. And you would be able to put in your decorative papers or something else. So it's just quite fun. And then what I've done there is a little bit of trim. So we're going to do the same thing. And then over here is another one. Just a very loose idea. I've just stuck stamp stickers and anything I fancied on that one. And that is orientated that way. Whereas this one would go on this way. So it would look like that down there. Sort of, if we find a page. So that could come and live there. And then from there you would just add in your journal cards or any papers at all. And that's quite a nice, very simple way of just doing some tucks and things. So it didn't take a great deal of effort. Or thought. You just throw them together like that, so you can make a whole bunch of these, and then we'll just decorate them up with maybe some nice trim. Let's have a look. So I've got some trim here. I get this from the Happy Black Cat, Victoria, Preston, England. So this is where you can probably find somewhere local to you, but I get this on Etsy. Happy Black Cat Studio. She is on Etsy. And then this is going to look quite nice, bringing in this lovely wine colour, this raspberry maybe, or even black. That could look, depending on what journal you're doing. I quite like this colour here, or like all of them. That's nice as well. Okay, so let's have one of each. Lovely, lovely, they're lovely. This one, no, yes, that's nice. One of these, this could be binding, seam binding, something like that. And then let's see how we get on. So we've got, no, that one's going there. No, yep. Maybe. That one's going there, that one's going there. And did we want a black? I think that... Oh, actually, that's quite nice. Okay, we've got one of each just for very different looks. This could be strips of fabric that you pull off of something. It doesn't have to be anything special. Just see what you've got in your stash. So I'm going to just put some fabric glue down there. Push that on there like that. And we'll tidy it up in a minute. Then this one. It's quite interesting. Glue there. So here I have them with the Sari silk ribbon all stuck down. I'm orientating them in different ways. So this one's going to be on the top of a page. This one's going to be on the bottom corner of a page. So that could look, you could even have them, because they're matching, you sort of, you could even have them on the same page and then have papers in between. That's another way of doing it. But I just thought I'd orientate them in different ways. This one I'm going to have on the side. So that would be the page there, like that, and then this one would be another one on the bottom. So those two on the bottom, those two on the top, just different ways, or it could be that way as well. Let's have a look and just see what I can find to fit everything. So I've got some lace trim here. I might just have a look at this one, and I just thought I'm going to put a little bit of this lace along the bottom just to counteract that black fabric here, and then just put a bead of glue quite generously along there. I can see where I want that to go, so that is just going to overhang and give a little trim on the end. Just give a little bit of texture on the edge there. I'm then going to put some more colour down here. I've just seen this, so this is, I quite like that it's got some splatters of gold, so maybe that should come and just tuck in there. So we've brought in a bit of gold and a bit of that blue colour. Tear that bit away. So already that's looking a little bit up together. Oop, take those bits. And this bit here has got a little rip in it, so I'm just going to, I found this, I saw that, oopsie, and I'm going to just repair that with that little digital kit there of some ledger paper. So that can live there. And I've brought in my images here, so I've got some nice, these lovely German lithographs. I love these. I'm going to use these, so I thought that that could come and be over there. So that needle must have rusted a little bit because we've got some funny tone glue going on there, but that's okay. So we just put that down. I've got a bit of cheesecloth here, so I thought I'd bring that in. Just think I want a bit more colour, so I'm going to put in a little scrap of bluey green napkin here. And then I'm going to add some cheesecloth. And then on top of that, I've thought this sort of bird could come and live up there. And then that looks quite nice. So I'm just going to stick him down. Glitter glue with a precision nib is ideal for anything a little bit more delicate that wants to just, you know, if there's a beak of a bird or a leg or a wing, it's ideal. You can just get in all the areas. So I'm just going to put him on there. And then pull out the bit at the back. Okay, I'm not happy with the top bit, so we'll come back to that in a minute. And then this one, I think I'm all right with it, but it does feel like it wants something there. So maybe a little label. So those two are looking okay. This one here wants a butterfly or something. Maybe this bird. Yes, that bird. Okay, so maybe it wants a bit of this as well. Glue that down. And just give that nice wispy effect. A little bit of texture. Something else. Maybe this colour just to... yeah, just so I can see his face a bit better. It's worth spending a bit of time because these things do peel up if you're not careful, so just get all the little tiny points. Then we're just angling round so that I can read that. There's a quiet track. That's what I want to see. I don't mind about anything else because nothing else is particularly inspiring, so we'll just spin him around a little bit just so that I can read that. That's great. And then I think what we'll have here is this gorgeous butterfly. As I think that he is just rather lovely. And if I can get it right, I just want to angle the wing in underneath this fabric. On there, that will just stick down. That's lovely. Just a missing bit there. I don't know if that's going to look any good. Right, it's just a bit of interest. That's fine. Let's have that. Okay, so when you've got an area like this, you can just add something very basic and simple, like one of these lovely labels here from Clee Black Creations. This is just her little random snippets, and I'm going to add that in there. It's got a nice date, and then just finishing it off, I'm just going to add a little fabric scrap there. So that's all I'm going to stick down, and I'm going to call that done. And I'm really happy with all of these nice little lace trims. Some of them, they don't need anything on the top because it just depends on where you're putting them on the page in the journal. But we'll have a little look and see what they all look like. Get it the right way up, stick it down. And then just going to stick that scrap of fabric in there as well. Just enough so we can read the date, but it finishes it off that edge, and then that's a little bit of intrigue, and it adds a wee bit of bulk there, but it's such a fine fabric that when it's squashed down over time in the weight of the book, it's going to be absolutely fine. Same with that one. So these are going to be stuck down in the journal just along the top and down there and there. So that is your tuck spot area, but these are all done now, so let's have a look and see what they would look like. Okay, so this is what we've got here. This is what they could look like just to embellish a page, and you could have one like that. So this is the first one with the bird. That could look absolutely gorgeous up there. Then we've got this mushroom one down here, just a nice quick easy tucks, these ones. And then we've got this one could come and live here. Just nice, particularly if you're doing a woodland theme, a boho theme, just that lovely eclectic sort of throw it together feel that I absolutely adore. And then this one, isn't that great? And that could come and live down the bottom there with the butterfly. So hopefully that's not too shiny. We can put some gel medium over the top of these sort of things. And they work well on the tea stain papers as well, so they look absolutely great. So anything like that, fussy cut out of a magazine or a calendar, anything you end up with, you know, they are lovely and easy to put together. So you just need to have a look at your trim, your fabric scraps, tear fabric up. You can dye it with some ink dye, and you can just sort of create something like that. If you've got a bit of lace or something, totally possible. And you can have a whole bunch of these done in an evening and they look absolutely super. Great for Happy Mail to send as a lovely gift to a junk journaling friend, and perfect for adding to the page on any journal, particularly if you're looking at a autumn or winter or woodland journal. So there we go, guys. I think that's a really fun little idea. That would work well for the spring, because you've got those nice colours, and again, you know, they are just for any time of the year, and you just change the colours to fit the theme, fit your mood, and then you can add them into the journal and they just be lovely treasured little finds. You can even sew a button on the top there, or you could even sew a little charm to have that hanging off there, and also if you've got them off the page, you could sew beads and things along the edge of your lace. Nice ideas and really fun to do. So yes, make them in the squares and then just cut them and decorate them up accordingly to fit your theme. So I hope you found fun and value there for that one. So give me a like and subscribe if you thought that was a good idea. And otherwise, I will see you on the next video for some more inspiration and ideas. So please have a little listen to my latest podcast if you would like to take the craft room with you, and I shall be back very soon with another video. And this is perfect for Happy Mail, perfect for gifting, perfect for autumn and fall crafting, particularly if you're using these nice rich colours. If you have a look in the autumn and fall crafts playlist, you'll be able to see some other things that we're doing for Happy Mail, and this is a great little extra that you could send or make for somebody, certainly to add to their journal, but it's quite nice to do a little collection. You could do one in each season and have 4. That would be good. That would be another idea, just to make them quickly. So there we go, that's a really fun idea. Hope you've enjoyed that, and above everything else, guys, just slow down and make crafting time for you. Bye bye now.